everyone. This is Steve Rozenberg with Mynd Property Management. And today I am joined with Jessy Porter, who is the portfolio manager for our Atlanta office operations. Jessy, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So what I want to talk about today is if I am an investor and I own property in the Atlanta area, what is the reason that you would say a property manager, why do I need a property manager? Where's the value for me as an investor, and why does it make sense, and how do you help investors?
Well, one of the things about Atlanta that people are experiencing with management, other than the basics, obviously freedom of time, the ability to not have to worry about resident complaints or maintenance issues, but demographically, our green space is large. So what happens is you'll have investors with investment opportunities in some of the suburban areas of Atlanta, and it's just a lot of legwork. So when you have properties that need to be tended to, it's not just as easy as, oh, I'm going to go out and handle a maintenance request. It's you have to make time, you have to make a day of it. In some cases, some of the places are over an hour away from the city, or they have all these different what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of interesting.
They're all kind of different, like intrinsic of each other.
Yes, and it requires so much attention.
Right.
So I have in the past had people say, hey, I want to do it myself. And I'm like, I always tell people, absolutely. You know, they think they can save money. They think that it'll be easier until
Sure.
It's not, until you don't have the expertise in the vendor relationship. You don't
Yep.
have the expertise in the, legal aspect when it comes to lease agreements and legal notices and evictions. And it's really a tedious process.
Yeah.
And it's so beneficial to just say, hey, I'm going to take this small percentage of my income on this property and pay an expert to do it and do it well.
That's a good point. And I think one of the things a lot of investors don't think about is the value of their time and what is their time worth to drive to all these areas. And then the second part of that is, what are the laws and how do the laws change? And I know from being an investor and owning properties in different areas, they could change in different cities and different townships or municipalities, and the laws are different and you have to abide by those, and you can't do one thing in one city and expect it to be the same. And to me, that's unless an investor is willing to commit all the time to educate themselves, as well as the time factor, because and correct me if I'm wrong, but at some point as an investor, you're going to run out of hours in the day, right? I mean, you can't own that many properties on a scale all over the city and be able to do that and expect to be effective.
Sure. And a lot of investment owners, sometimes it's a residual income. Sometimes, for the most part, they have full-time jobs.
Sure.
They have full-time careers and this is to advance their life, not to suck all the joy out of it. And it really, really can if you allow it to. And I've seen it happen so many times. And like you said, when you have the different municipalities, just because it's Atlanta, you have East Point and College Park and Forest Park, and they're all so different.
Yeah.
With utilities, with everything that they do, with how the police zones are handled, which is something that people don't know about, how the eviction process is handled. All of those things are completely different, and you have to know how to handle it. And some of them are just what I call old school. So it's not that different. They're just so tedious. They require so many hoops that you jump through to do anything that you need to do. And that would literally just drive investors crazy.
Absolutely. And I think also, those are good points. And I think also when it comes to the accounting of the property, right? Maintenance, all the things that go in. And I think investors have for some reason, a belief that they should be able to do all these things. And I think the reality is you're not going to do all these things correctly. And, something is going to drop off because, like you said, the average investor is someone who has a job, they have a career, and they didn't get into this to get a third job or a second job. And that's what happens. And there's nothing that says that just because you own the property that you know how to run the property. And I think those are two different things. And I think, when you have so much money in your investment and possibly your life savings tied up in a piece of real estate, that is when you really want to hand that over to a professional. You should not chance that on, hey, I think I should do this. I'm not really sure the laws. I think I have time next weekend to handle it, when you could be breaking a property code law because you didn't address it in the right amount of time because you didn't know what the law was. And that's where I think the value is. So if you had to sum it up into one word sentence, what would you say the reason somebody should get a property manager, if you just had to kind of boil it down?
If I had to boil it down, I'll give you, a couple of words.
Okay.
But it's about protecting your asset.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
100%.
That's a great way to put it. Great. Well, Jessy, thanks so much for joining us today. For those of you watching, if you want to find more information, you can go to our Facebook group. It's the Mastermind Real Estate Investment Club on Facebook. People like myself, Jessy, other influencers in the industry are on there. You can engage, comment, be involved in what's going on in the investment world. We also have the Mindful Investor podcast show. And on there, you can see shows that we have some of the top real estate people around the world actually are on our show, and you can watch it. It's on iTunes, Spotify. You can go to our website. If you go to our website, you can go to mind.co. So it's MYND.co. And you can find all the information there, and they can find Jessy, and you can go into the region section. You can find out more about Atlanta and other areas that we manage for. So again, thank you everyone for watching. Jessy, thank you very much, and we'll see you guys next time.